Donnie Denman and Coach Rick Senator of Franklin Pierce for joining us a moment ago. We're going to get to Kyle Devitt of Inside Lacrosse, presented by Sports Stop of New Hampshire, at the top of the hour. We'll also visit that big Bedford-Londonderry matchup tomorrow with both head coaches, new man at Londonderry, Sean LeBlanc, and Matt Gerard back on the airwaves with us as well. Russ Moyer of 603 Lax Insider will join us. And, well, we've got the Beals Insurance scoreboard to run down as well. Let's not forget your phone calls at 603-883-9900. Find us on Twitter at ESPNNH, or send us a text message if you want at 50352. Let's bring in right now the two-time defending Division I girls lacrosse champion, head coach Rob Daziel, back on the program. Coach, good morning.
Good morning. Hi, guys.
Thank you for joining us, Coach. Well, a long, brutal winter behind us. Now you've got your eyes on a three-peat. What's it going to take this year to come away with the crown yet again?
We're just going to have to be playing our best lacrosse at the end of the season. So to me, it's a process, and you have to get better every week when you play. Starting a little tough this year with this weather. We've been on a parking lot and a gym. Get a gym for an hour a day and parking lot for the remainder of the time. So it's been a little tough. That
does sound tough.
no turf in dairy.
All right.
So turf teams will have a little bit of advantage at the beginning of the season.
So can you talk a little bit about Maggie McCarthy, one of your star players heading to Delaware, and also, Rob, if you could talk about how D1 gets a little bit stronger with the addition of Bishop Girton and Bedford in the division.
Yeah, absolutely. The realignment of the division certainly is going to make it a little more competitive. Although, we've I think last year we scrimmaged BG. Previous years we had played them, and we've played Bedford for the last couple of years. So they've always been competitive games with those two. So it's definitely going to help out with the competitive landscape. Also, Maggie, with regards to Maggie, solid player. She's been on varsity for 4 years. Coached her for a number of years in the youth ranks. Just a good all-around athlete who can really control the game at times. But she's got a great supporting cast around her. We try not to focus on one player, two players. Everybody touches the ball. Everybody has an opportunity to score. So that's the style of play we have.
Coach, good morning. It's Chris Etler. How are you?
Hi, Chris.
Hey, good. Can you talk a little bit about your goaltending? Goaltending's always been a strength for you guys. Can you talk a little bit about how that's helped your program over the last couple of years?
Yeah, it really turned around with the addition of Sarah last year, who's at UNH now. So we lost her. She was really solid for a couple of years. But we have a girl named Kyra Goucher, and then we also have Jackie Tarsuk. So we have two pretty good goalies. Kyra actually committed to Assumption a couple of weeks ago, verbally committed. She's a real athletic kid, tall, tough, mentally tough and physically tough. So we're looking for big things from her this year. She was the backup goalie last year as a sophomore. She's a junior this year. So, and then Jackie is a senior. So as needed, we'll be pulling her in too.
So you mentioned, you guys have been in the parking lot and stuff like that. Do you feel like your program's reached a point where you guys are no longer you're not rebuilding? You've got experienced kids coming back. Are you able to focus more on team aspects and less on the stick skills, and you can sort of still do stuff even though you haven't had a full field to work on? How is your program at that point? Do you have a lot of returning kids with experience?
Yeah, well, we lost 12 seniors last year, so we lost a good amount of seniors. But I carried a young team, knowing what I was losing. So most of the kids are playing, throughout the year. So their stick skills are pretty sharp when I get them in the spring. So, as you said, I don't focus a ton on the stick skills. We're obviously doing drills, but we really focus more on the team concepts: defense, offense, clearing, riding, which is difficult when you're in a small space on a parking lot. The parking lot's even small and the gym's small. So we've been on the field twice. We've had 2 scrimmages on a turf, going from parking lot to turf, but the kids have adapted pretty well. So I've been pretty happy with the transition from a parking lot to a turf field.
Again, we're speaking with Rob Daziel, the coach over at Pinkerton Academy. The two-time defending Astros open up the season. What is that, tomorrow, Coach, right? What about the early
Actually, that game's been postponed. I'm not sure it'll win. We were going to open up against Merrimack on Monday, but now we're opening up against North Andover out of Massachusetts, who I think has already 5 games behind them. They're either 6-1 or 5-1, and they're a top team. They just took Notre Dame Academy, who's a perennial state champion down there, to I think it was 9-8 or something, lost by 1 goal. So it's going to be a tough team to open up against. It's had probably 3 scrimmages and at least 5 or 6 games behind them, but we're looking forward to the challenge.
Right, because it still says Merrimack up on the NHIAA website, so that must be a developing reschedule situation, right?
Yeah, I don't think they've actually rescheduled it yet, but my AD has told me that it's being rescheduled. It was supposed to be a home game for us. I think there's still snow on our field.
Well,
in the shady spots.
That would certainly explain it. First month of the season, you've got a lot of games on the schedule, 7 between now and the end of the month. And as you said, your home field is still questionable at best. So does that present an extra set of challenges in the first few weeks of the season for your club?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think the tougher part of our schedule is in the beginning. When I look at it, particularly opening up against North Andover, that's a challenge. I would have preferred to play them more in the middle of the season when we're clicking on all cylinders. Our game, I guess, against South was going to be a home game on Friday, but that's been moved to Stellos. So yeah, it's always a challenge. Beginning of the year, you never know what you're going to get for weather, and the temperatures really impact the kids, as Chris and those guys know. So it's always a challenge, but we get through it. And this week the weather's looking pretty good, so it'll feel like spring hopefully.
How's your daughter holding up?
Which one? I have 4.
Well, Kennedy was a friend of the program last year, and so she's playing at Southern New Hampshire right now.
My oldest actually is at University of Mount Olive, and they're number 13 in the country right now for D2.
We were just talking about that off air, about how successful these D2 programs have been, both on the men's and the women's side. Can you shed some light on that?
Well, I think a number of my players have been going D2. I think it offers it's a nice proposition for the girls. It's not as demanding necessarily as D1. It's still demanding, but there's a lot of scholarship money out there for D2 programs, particularly down south. So my oldest, she's at University of Mount Olive. It's the 3rd season of the program. They're ranked number 13 in the ILLGA poll right now. She's number 7 in the country in scoring. She's loving it down there. No snow, warm temps, and so she's having a great time. And Kennedy's at SNU, and they're doing a little better as of late. They had a tough game against Adelphi yesterday, but Adelphi is number 1 at D2. But they stuck with them for a while. SNU needs a few more kids, and I think they'll be right up in the top of the NE10.
Now, did you get a chance to see?
Conference.
Did you get a chance to see your younger girls play in the Tomahawk games yesterday?
Actually, they didn't have a game yesterday.
Oh, they were off. The 19 team had a game. Yeah.
Yeah, but we do have practice this afternoon. So they have a youth game over against Hampton over at UNH. So we're on our way over there in a couple of hours. So those 2 will be playing too. So 4 playing, and I'm running around like a crazy person.
Right, they're playing in shorts and skirts, and you're out here probably in a parka in 10-degree weather, out in a parking lot. So who got the better end of the stick, I guess?
Yeah, yep.
Well, hey, Coach, thanks for joining us. Good luck this season. It's going to be a crazy first few weeks for you, but things will eventually settle down, and I got a feeling you'll be right back in the hunt for another crown before it's all said and done. Thanks again for jumping on.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Thank you. That's Rob Daziel, head coach of the Pinkerton girls. They are 2-time defending champions in Division I. But, guys, quickly, as we talked about, it's a different division this year on the girls' side with the addition of Bedford and some other teams.
It definitely makes that, deepens it, strengthens the division with Bedford defending Division II champion, and BG has a lot of talent back. They have 7 committed players already. Not as deep maybe as a Pinkerton team, but they certainly have a lot of talent. So you have to throw in the mix there. You have Londonderry with Coach Slater, who's back for Londonderry this year. He won back-to-back championships maybe 2010 and 11. He took 2 years off to coach at the college level. Now he's back, and
they had one of the nation's longest winning streaks, I think.
He did.
For a while.
He did great things with that program. They have great numbers, so he's back in the mix. So you're going to see an improved Londonderry team, Bedford, BG, and you also have Exeter in the mix. So that's a 5-team division. That's going to be interesting to see who could get to that Final Four.
You mentioned Sauhegan and Hollis. They always have strong programs.
Yeah, Sauhegan, they've been in the final. They've been beat by Pinkerton the last 2 years in the finals, but they lost a lot of players. So you can't. You're right. You can't count them out because of their feeder program and the program that the coaches have put together over there. So they're certainly going to be in the mix, yes, in that top 16s. But they just lost a lot of high-end talent.
Is Pinkerton still the team to beat?
I think so. I think so, just because of the depth and the program that Rob's put together. But I mean that there's going to be some competitive games all year with those teams.
A little tighter of a race, perhaps, in 2015. All right, that was a very quick first hour. And we've got a jam-packed second hour right around the corner. Live in studio, Kyle Devitt of Inside Lacrosse Magazine, presented by Sports Stop of New Hampshire. We'll also touch base with new Londonderry boys head coach Sean LeBlanc. Big first game for the Lancers tomorrow against Bedford. Bulldogs put their win streak, the nation's longest, on the line. What does that mean to their head coach, Matt Gerard? He'll jump on at the bottom of the hour. We'll wrap things up with the Beals Insurance scoreboard and with Russ Moyer of 603 Lax going to give us some salivating predictions. All that and more next. Hour number 2 coming up. You're listening to FNL Lacrosse here on ESPN New Hampshire, online at ESPNNHradio.com, presented by the Nashua Sports Academy.